Oh. Hey there, welcome to Real Late with Chris and Craig. Is that what we're calling this? I'm not sure, but hey,
Something, we can call it whatever. Make it up as we go.
yeah. Laura Kessel, our partner, isn't with us tonight. So it's me and Craig. So we're just hanging out.
Yeah.
We talked about Seinfeld, and wanted to talk about some of the stuff we're watching on TV. One of our partners is YouTube TV. And I hate saying this, man. I got some complaints to file against YouTube TV.
Oh, okay. Wow.
First of all, um, you're not gonna like me bring this up. I'm gonna bring it up.
Okay. Oh boy.
The 12 Nights of Christmas Eve, I believe, the new movie starring Frasier star Kelsey Grammer.
Oh yeah, we talked about with Dame Drops. Yeah.
Yes, our favorite YouTuber, Dame Drops. It was on Lifetime TV. YouTube TV does not have Lifetime.
Oh well.
So I missed
I dodged
the
a bullet
movie.
there, didn't you?
I missed the big movie. Oh well.
We'll never know if Kelsey Grammer ordered Dame Drops' meal for that day or whatever.
I'm hoping it'll drop on YouTube sometime, or
maybe only hope.
Or another channel will pick it up. Maybe NBC will make it their Saturday night movie night or something. I don't know.
Oh geez, I don't know. We'll see. I'm trying to think who has like a Lifetime movie contract on the streamers, but I'm blanking, so I'm not really sure if one of the streamers has like the rights to Lifetime movies, or if certain Lifetime movies come onto the Peacock or whatever. So
YouTube TV does a really good job. They have a lot of the channels. For some reason, they don't have Lifetime, and I'll be honest, I wouldn't care if it wasn't for that one movie. I'm not going to protest over that. For some reason, too, they don't have History Channel. I'm kind of like a documentary buff.
Okay.
I mean, there's enough docs on YouTube, which I'm fine. I mean, it's not like I'm missing anything. But the show I like is Pawn Stars. I like the old guys yelling at each other, and it's not on. But apparently, I mean, they'll put clips on YouTube. So again, I'm okay, but I kind of miss that.
Yeah. Well, apparently they've taken the Pawn Stars on the road, right? Like they go to places now, apparently, where they're not just. I'm assuming there's stores in California, I would imagine. So I guess they're
Vegas and Nevada.
Oh, Vegas. Okay, sure. That shows you how much I've watched Pawn Stars over the years. But so yeah, maybe they'll come to a city near us at some point.
Oh, I'd be there. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
So sounds good. Hey, I wanted to bring this up. I've been in contact with her today. Soledad O'Brien. We've been kind of talking back and forth on Twitter. If you remember, she was wasn't she a CNN anchor for a while?
Yeah, and she also was a very strong contributor to HBO Sports too, as well. So.
Yeah, and she's doing a lot of separate projects. She's not really a day-to-day news employee, but she's been a lot of different stuff. She directed the new documentary about Rosa Parks. We have been back and forth on trying to find a time to meet. I was hoping she could make it tonight. We were going to try sometime tomorrow. That's the last I heard from her. She's flying somewhere tonight. But the Rosa Parks documentary, it's on Peacock. You can stream it there. But they're going to actually put it on MSNBC Sunday night at 10. So we're hoping to talk to her about that. So even though she's not here, still check out the doc. I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's obviously an interesting topic, and probably one that will be very timely in their presentation. So yeah, very excited to see that. Check it out. Check it out on Peacock. Yeah.
Now I will say I've been over the weekend in terms of TV. Big football weekend. I mean, Ohio State, Michigan on Saturday. I don't know why. I kind of got a little bit more into the Browns Buccaneers on Sunday than I thought I would. Okay. And Craig, here's another thing. I actually stayed up to watch the Steelers Colts Monday night game. I usually am asleep in the first 5 minutes.
Well, it's your team. You have to, right? I mean, you have to watch your team, don't you?
There have been a lot of times in my life where I fallen asleep early. and I wake up at 2 a.m. scrambling my phone. Oh, did they win or not? I'm like pulling up the app to see.
Okay.
But no, but I actually won the game. Saw the game. The Steelers won. It wasn't that super exciting, but hey, they won. It was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but with all of that, some of my other TV watching hasn't been there. YouTube TV has like an HBO and Showtime trial. I didn't really find anything I was really
Ooh, okay.
super interested. And I know that's
Really?
fighting words for you because you're
Yeah,
you're the
I'm
HBO guy.
about
You're
ready
like,
to
man,
blow your doors off here, Chris. I'm telling you, I'm going to give you some HBO Max picks that you're going to wish
okay,
that you had binge watched.
all right, yeah. What you got?
Well, we have a few things. Obviously, we're still getting through the Big Bang Theory, which, of course, you can stream on HBO Max. But in addition to that, my wife and I finished up season 2, or I guess they called it part 2 of The Vow, which is sort of the inner workings of the Nexium sex cult, which really
Hey,
rose to fame over the last several years. Actress Allison Mack, probably most notably for being involved in sex trafficking. This part one kind of played out like what Nexium was, how it grew, and sort of the offshoot companies that it spawned. And then part 2 here kind of deals with the fallout, the trials, the guilty pleas of people's involvement. But one of the things that HBO really does well with their documentary series, and especially with this one, is it tells both sides of that story. So there are still plenty of people that are pro Keith Raniere and the Nexium, whatever you want to call it. It's sort of a self-help group, but most people call it a cult. But HBO does give plenty of opportunity for the people that are still involved with that organization to kind of say, this is why I'm still involved in the organization. And this was my experience versus maybe other people's experiences. So it definitely paints a picture of negativity against this organization, but they do balance it out pretty well through these episodes. And season 2, or part 2, as they called it, was a really eye-opening experience. I think it was even maybe a little bit better than part 1 because this doesn't jump around as much as part 1 did in terms of its timeline of telling the story. And it really tells a very cohesive, if you're into the true crime documentary stuff, this is right up your alley. It's going to really absorb your time. You're going to want to binge watch. I think there's about 15 total hours or 16 hours or so, or even more of episodes that you can watch. And I think you'll be pretty enthralled to see how it works, even though this was a case where the cameras were not allowed in the courtroom, but they did do some recreations with audio, and they did graphics and animations and things like that to kind of tell the story in a more digestible way, so you weren't just listening to testimony. So a very compelling docu series. It's sad that it's over because it is. It's no longer. They're not going to have any more seasons, obviously, as they've kind of wrapped up and told the full story. But definitely worth your time if you ever have a chance, Chris, if you're into that kind of stuff, to maybe catch it on the next round of free preview weekends or whatever you get from YouTube TV.
Okay, I'll definitely keep that in mind. I'm not sure if you sold me on that, but hey,
Okay. Well, if you're not into
well,
it, it's not everybody's cup of tea. As a
right.
as a journalist who has covered crime and courts for the better part of like 7 or 8 years, if you're a crime junkie that loves courtroom stuff, you're going to enjoy this series. HBO Max, HBO, whatever you want to call it, does a very nice job with some other stuff that they have as well. But this was, one of those interesting cases that just, I didn't really hear a lot about it. I heard Allison Mack's name involved with it, but at the time I did not know what Nexium was, or the offshoot company, DOS, that was sort of this women's branding and sorority, as it was kind of called. And it was just an eye-opening experience to kind of get further into the rabbit's hole on what everybody may have been involved with. So a very
Okay.
interesting watch. And, for those true crime lovers out there, especially people that love watching like sort of the cat and mouse game with the courtroom, with attorneys going at it, it's right up my alley. So
Oh
maybe not for
yeah.
everybody.
Oh well, and believe me, I watch a bunch of stuff that other people wouldn't be into. So I mean, that's totally understand. No worries at all. Um, a couple of the things I found that was kind of interesting. I've got an offer for a free month of Hulu. My wife wanted to watch Handmaid's Tale, so we
Okay.
got that. I told my wife, you got a month, you got to get through that season, or I'm canceling it.
Right.
Because we're spending way too much on streaming right now. If YouTube TV and YouTube Premium, oh, geez, it's been a lot. But the interesting thing was Paul Yanchek, who does our Extender podcast and the Steelers podcast, was telling us the other week, you got to check out God Forbid. Paul's a pastor, and he's interested in that stuff. It's a really shocking documentary about Liberty University. You know, Jerry Falwell Jr. and his wife, Becky, got involved with a young man where Jerry would watch his wife and the young man engage in some activity. And, this guy really got involved in business dealings. It wasn't just that he was having an affair. There was a bunch of wild, wacky stuff going on. And I don't know if you knew, Liberty is way involved in politics. They were very much into, former President Trump's campaign. And you started seeing, man, a bunch of Republican luminaries coming to Liberty. It wasn't just President Trump. It was a who's who of, popular people in the Republican Party. A lot of criticism, too, over a double standard. Liberty has a lot of pretty strict rules on how you should behave around women and everything. And, the Falwells were endorsing that, and they did whatever they wanted. It was a wild show, man. Pretty crazy.
That's on Hulu, correct? Because I do have that
right
in one of my hoppers to watch at some point.
Yeah,
because I was also very interested in that. I have another pick now. This is going to surprise you. I have a non HBO Max selection.
Whoa!
Yeah. So now I will say before this, I'll mention two other HBO Max watches before this. But A Christmas Story Christmas, if you're in the Christmas nostalgia mood, watch A Christmas Story Christmas, and then Arthur Christmas, a nice little animated for the kids, but also can keep the adults entertained as well. But definitely don't sleep on A Christmas Story Christmas. It was way better than I expected. But for my big drum roll here, Peacock, it's the I Love You, You Hate Me, the untold story of Barney the dinosaur. Do you remember Barney the dinosaur, Chris?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Well, this is a two-part documentary on sort of the love-hate relationship that America had with the big friendly purple dinosaur. And growing up, I never realized, I knew the I Hate You song or whatever that kids, my wife had mentioned it to me, and I'm like, okay, I remember that. But I could not believe how much hatred there was for Barney the dinosaur. I mean, do you ever remember that?
Yeah, I do. I don't remember why or how he was so hated, but yeah, he was hated for a while.
Yeah. So it's a really interesting documentary. It kind of highlights the rise of this character from this woman in I think she's from Allen, Texas, who created Barney because she had a young child who didn't have any brothers and sisters, and she wanted to kind of give him a sort of a friend, if you will, sort of like a real tangible friend. So she created this big purple dinosaur, and they bring back a lot of the cast and people who played Barney and people who worked on the show, and just kind of gave this engrossing story about the rise and fall of it, and then also sort of the rise and fall of the family that was associated with the creation of Barney, and just sort of some of the tragedies that happened there. But really interesting, especially if you watched Barney or haven't really thought about it in years. But a really interesting documentary, or two-part documentary. Probably could have been just one film, but I can see why they split it up into two, because part two kind of takes a really drastic shift, even though part of the first part of the documentary is talking about the hatred for Barney, but the second shift is a lot more personal and a little bit more tragic.
You said that was on Hulu?
That's on Peacock right now.
Oh, Peacock. Okay. All right. Very
So
good.
yeah.
I'm trying to think of anything else. All my podcasts get mixed up anymore, but did I talk to you about the Weird Al movie?
No, I don't think you did.
Okay, yeah, well, I'll end with that one. Roku channel. I'm not sure if you get the Roku channel. I mean, if you don't have a Roku, I think you could just watch it online. Funny or Die has done some stuff recently with Roku. I guess like 5 minutes, 5 years ago, or maybe it was 10 now. They did a 5 minute like spoof of a movie with Weird Al in it, where they kind of over exaggerated what his life was like.
Right.
They actually made that into a movie. They made it from 5 minutes to hour and a half. Crazy. It's insane. Very overblown, but very funny in parts. They had Weird Al going to, I believe it was Colombia, to fight against Castro. Like, so he gets his gun battle against Castro. Madonna comes to Weird Al,
Okay.
and Madonna starts dating Weird Al because Weird Al's so popular and famous. Madonna's guy get some of that with Weird Al. Um, Beat It was actually written by Weird Al to start. No, Eat It. The Eat It song. Weird Al sang Eat It, and in the movie, some guy, Michael Jackson, ripped him off. So Michael Jackson actually spoofed him, and he got mad about that. A lot of his growing up was fun. Um, um, his dad didn't want to play the dirty accordion because it was so simple and everything. And oh man, yeah, and I won't spoil the ending. The ending is way out, very crazy, but very, very funny. It was actually, if you like spoofs, it's very good. It kind of spoofs all the music movies like about Queen and other stuff that came out. It was really well done. It was funny.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard good things about it. Kind of interested. It was one of those. I mean, Weird Al's popular. I mean, maybe not as popular as he was when maybe I was in school or high school, but he's a pretty popular guy. I'm surprised that it didn't get a little bit more. Nothing against Roku, but just maybe a streamer, or even some sort of a theatrical release as well. But I've heard good things about it, though.
Oh yeah, I forgot the link I sent you. Elton John. Apparently, I think in the
Yeah.
past week or two, his final concert came out. They filmed that. I think it was the last leg of his finale tour. Craig, I know you're not a big music guy. I'm not a huge music guy. That might be the next thing, though, Craig. I mean, let's go film some of these concerts. If it's somebody big like Elton John, or even if it's a regular concert date,
Mhm.
release it at the end of the tour. That could
Yeah.
be something that streamers pay money for. And
Yeah.
again, the Elton John thing was big, but do it for the latest Foo Fighters tour. Do it for the latest. I can't even think of BST tour or something.
Right.
I mean, I think you could get money for streaming rights for something like that.
Well, it's interesting because, how many comedy specials are out there
Right.
where, Netflix has an abundance of them, HBO Max has a bunch, you know, concerts, where you get the streaming rights. Now maybe you have to pay a little bit more for like a Taylor Swift or an Elton John, but I would imagine if you can say, look, we're the only streaming service that has Elton John's final concert or Taylor Swift's concert, I mean, people are going to want to watch those.
Well, and after all the fight over the Taylor Swift tickets and the
Yeah.
controversy of Ticketmaster, man, if I'm a streamer, I'd be paying a lot of money for the rights to that because there's a lot of people that don't get to go. That hey, you can watch it, put out like the week after her tour ends. You don't want to do it during the tour because people wouldn't go on her tour, but do it the week after the tour ends. I think it would be spectacular,
Right.
and yeah, so it should be good. All right. Well, hey, we're getting near the end of our time. Just want to mention something quick. Craig's still a journalist. I'm kind of, I don't think my feet are totally out of the journalism waters, but they're out for the time being. But hey, it's been a tough week for a lot of comms pros, a lot of people, a lot of layoffs out there, Craig, and it's going to hit Gannett in the next day or two. Just support your local journalism. say it before, and I'll say it again. If it's Gannett paper, go for it. If it's like a USA Today, go for it. But even if not, subscribe online. A lot of ways you can help your local paper. It's important. It's changing. We're losing a lot of journalists, either on their own accord or if the company that owns these papers make cuts. They got to make money. I mean, if we own the business, we want to make money too. So support your local journalist. Craig, anything you want to promote before you get out of here?
No, I'll be talking to Bob Garver tomorrow. He's got a whole slate of movies for me. So excited to talk about more movies with Bob.
Fantastic. And again, I like this live thing. It's pretty good. We're going to continue to do this, but here's the hard thing, Craig. You get to tap out. I don't get to tap out. I got 2 more hours of this, and you can watch my descent into sleep as we go.
I might watch because of that now. Maybe I'll watch. I'll watch you fall asleep on live streaming.
It sounds crazy. And I'll say this. I mean, we've only been audio. I mean, we always have the video on so we can see each other, but in the past, we've just released audio. A couple weeks ago with Joe and Paul, Joe got tired in the second hour. He fell asleep. And I was talking to Paul. I didn't hear anything from Joe for a while. I heard this snoring noises. I'm like, what the heck is that? It was Joe. I mean, he literally was laying down. He was asleep during the show. We literally had to mute him. We kept him on camera. We wanted to make sure he was okay. He wasn't dead or anything. But yeah, literally someone fell asleep on the show. It was fantastic.
Need to sell those rights to streaming, a streaming service.
Yes.
Watch people fall asleep while live streaming their podcasts.
We still had the video. It was fantastic. So, and the great thing about it is Joe woke up at the end of the podcast. We're like, hey, Joe, man, you were fantastic. And he was. Man, we should start sleeping on all our podcasts. I think maybe that'll make us better suited. So, hey, check our sponsors. Again, however you're consuming this podcast, we got sponsors on at the end. Check them all out. And Craig, thanks for coming on. Have a great night, everybody. No problem.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Mooney. Welcome to what is our new Hope Interrupted podcast based on the work from our book, Hope Interrupted, that I co-authored with my good friend Byron McCauley.
Hey, Jennifer, I'm looking forward to this podcast as much as I was looking forward to writing this book with you. We hope to interview some high-impact folks as well as have a little fun.
We're going to cover stories of hope. To learn more about our podcast and our book, please visit www.hopeinterrupted.com.